that we had wanted to look at. And I wrote that down there. And number 7, Simsbury, Glasgow, Branford. So I doubt within the next month or so we're going to be able to get out to see those folks. I'm happy to do it, although I've been pretty quarantined only because I have an elderly mother and elderly in-laws, and I just don't want to give anybody anything. I don't mind getting it myself. I have no comorbidities. I mean, I would mind, but I'm not really scared of it. But I would feel terrible if I gave it to someone who was over the age of 80, like my parents, like my mom and stepmom, mom and in-laws. And then Helen was going to take a look at those potential questions for our questionnaire. And I didn't hear back from her on my response to her a couple of hours ago, but I can get with her on that. She seemed kind of pumped to do that. I'm going to take another crack at it. We were going to review those on April 6th, which obviously got canceled. And then we need to reschedule again the public hearing from the 16th, which we couldn't do. And we haven't been in front of the Board of Selectmen either for their thoughts and our questions to them. So we've got a lot of work to do still. And Lauren, what do you? I haven't talked to Al in a couple of weeks. Is there a new timetable on any of the Board of Selectmen timetables on what we need to get to them? Do you know?
Right now there isn't, and I will tell you that with everything else going on, the board hasn't really asked updates of any committee or any ad hoc committee right now because they have so much else on their plate. I will tell you that I don't know really when in-person meetings will be allowed again, especially things of the magnitude of a public hearing or a town meeting. I don't anticipate, honestly, those types of events happening in person for a while. The governor is saying May 20th, he's going to start rolling out ways that we can reopen things. But I would say in-person meetings like a traditional public hearing town meeting are not going to happen until the fall. We're looking at ways that we can do some really funky type of town meetings. But as far as a public hearing, if you wanted an in-person public hearing, I would say we're looking at, definitely blowing the timeline of your charge. We are doing public hearings online through Zoom. We have one actually Wednesday night for the Board of Finance. If you guys wanted to log on as an attendee and kind of see how it's going to work. So we've put a lot of thought into this webinar platform that we're using tonight. Right now, you guys don't have any public on your meeting, but I'm anticipating the public hearing for the budget is going to have a significant number of public. It keeps them, for those not familiar with the webinar platform on Zoom, it keeps you and the public as separate entities on the actual meeting. So you guys are all panelists, the public are attendees. They don't have video or microphone unless I, as your host, allow them to have it. So they're not allowed to, interject or interrupt your conversation, but we are allowed to create them, to transfer them over as panelists to allow them to give their public comment. So you will be able to see them. They still have to give their name and address, just like they would for public record if they were in person. So it's definitely different than an in-person public hearing, but it kind of accomplishes the same goal. So it really would be dependent upon you guys determining if you're at a point where you want to go to a public hearing.
Okay. So Lauren, if we did a public hearing, could they see a PowerPoint as well, or how would that work?
Yeah, so anybody who had a PowerPoint would be able to share your screen. So at the bottom of your screen now, if you scroll down, there's a black bar of options, and in the middle, there's a share screen button. You would click on that and then it would pop up a new window for everything that you currently had open on your computer. And then you could share a PowerPoint that way. So
Okay.
I could do it if you guys wanted me to do it. If if I had the PowerPoint, I could just share it for you, or one of you
Yeah.
could do it.
Okay, so no date when we're gonna be able to do anything for a long time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And not to, I don't hope I don't offend anybody, but how critical is this committee to, for the Board of Selectmen to do this immediately? I mean, should we still be on the same time frame? I don't want to put anybody, out. I know things are crazy at home with different people, and the Board of Selectmen's the Board of Selectmen, the Board of Finances, that's a critical, obviously, those things are so critical to running a town. This committee really isn't. So I'll solicit some opinions on that. I'm happy to do it. It's not the best, and I wouldn't be that pumped because I just would hope, I think the best product is gonna come out of it this way. I don't know, maybe I'm just being old fashioned. I don't know.
I don't know. I've been using Zoom a lot, on Zoom, Teams, GoToMeeting, WebEx, every platform. And I haven't been in work in 4 weeks. And I have meetings all day long, and it works pretty good. I've
Okay.
had face-to-face conversations, one-on-ones. It seems to work pretty well. So as long as when the public speaks, they can then be on video so you can see them.
Yep.
That makes a big difference than just having a disembodied voice talking to you through them.
That's true, because then it's not really anonymous, right?
Yeah, you get a real connection that way.
You can see the person.
Not everyone will do that, but you can get that.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe we just need to look at it differently. Maybe it's not the same as whereas before there's gonna be a PowerPoint, maybe the information needs to be sent out beforehand so people can look at it and come prepared with questions instead of, it's really hard to give a presentation to a blank screen.
Yeah,
No one in the audience, that's really hard. But if we do something different, maybe say, okay, it's been so long, I forgot how many forms of government there we're investigating.
that's a good point. Yeah, I know. Yeah,
God.
Right.
So here are the 5 forms of government. Here's the research we did, kind of like our description. Here's the interviews or whatever the data set we have. Send that out and saying, we're going to solicit input. Come and tell us what you think about any one of these. Hate it, love it, don't care about it. Maybe that'll be a little better.
Rather than coming in cold, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because you can't read the audience because you can't see them until they raise their hands and they're allowed to come on.
Right.
That's me the challenge, but that might work. It's
Yep.
worked for me.
Okay,
I think
Lauren,
it's trying
go
to,
ahead.
oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I think it's worth trying to do something over Zoom. I've done several like Zoom webinar things for my nonprofit. Like we just had one that, we had over 200 people or something sign up. So it's worked pretty well for us. I mean, we have sort of like random people signing up. So, we've done for that. We did a mix of, there's like a written Q&A feature and then there's sort of like the audio Q&A. So, I mean, it all worked pretty well for us. And I mean, I think it's better than doing nothing. I mean, our original plan was to have
Right.
a public hearing. So,
Right.
if the timeline does get extended, we could always do something else later, but I don't know, it seems worth trying to do something.
Right. It's definitely extended, because we were supposed to be delivering a product at the end of May, early June, I guess it was. So if I look at my calendar, it is the 27th. How about, and Lauren, you tell me if this is too imposing on your calendar too, obviously, is maybe we go out 2 weeks for a public hearing. That would be the 11th of May. And we need to do, we thought about doing 2 of them. And maybe we do one 2 weeks later on the 25th. No, that's Memorial Day. So, God, I can't believe it's that just hit me like with a slap there. Memorial Day. I'm not even thinking about summertime. So what was that? That was the 20. So that would be May 11. May 11, and then we should wait. We shouldn't do one the week after. We should give it a
Yeah,
little time, maybe June 1st.
Yeah.
That's 3 weeks. Is that too far? Well, we don't really have a choice. June 1st. Does that work for everybody? June 1. Lauren R., does that work for you?
So, yeah, both of those dates work for me. We would have to put the May 11th public notice into the New Haven Register because we've missed the deadline for the source. So if we wanted to put them in the source in order to give that 10-day time frame, you wouldn't be able to do the first one until the week of the 18th.
So let's do May 18th then.
yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, that gives us a little time to
Yeah.
get back into it. I think I mentioned I went back to work after retiring for 90 days. And they opened up the loan program again today. And it's chaos, pure chaos at my bank. And then so we have to go out to June. That's
June
June 18th. On May 18th. We could still do.
We could still do June 1st.
We're
Yeah,
doing June 1st. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, May 18th, June 1st for. And now how do we get the information out to the public on the PowerPoint?
We post it on the website, right?
I
Yep.
guess the website, yeah.
Okay, so post PowerPoint on.
So you probably want to have your PowerPoint done for the 11th. So it gives everybody about a week to log in, look at the PowerPoint, formulate questions if they have them for you.
I think it was essentially done. I'll re-review it again, send it
Okay.
out. But I think it was.
Yeah, if you can send it out. I don't remember.
Yeah, you had sent it. I looked at it the other day.
Okay. Let's do it again and I'll send it out again to everybody.
Thank you.
Just so they have it. And then we can put it on, that's a great idea, putting it on our website. And then we can go from there, website. Okay. And, oh yeah, that's good. Okay, got those dates down. Excellent. And so public hearing, April 6th. So Lauren, do you think those people from those towns of Simsbury, Glastonbury, Branford that we were talking about interviewing, we could maybe do that over the telephone?
Yeah. And I will reach back out. Like I said, I had tried Simsbury a few times and I didn't hear back from anybody, but I will.
I remember you telling me that. So maybe now that maybe things have calmed down a little bit, everybody's into a little bit of a groove, a COVID groove here.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what kind of response, because I would anticipate that much like Madison, these towns have bigger things to worry about right now.
That's true.
You know?
That is true.
And Bob,
Yeah, I
refresh my memory. Were we going to do the questionnaire between the two public hearings?
Yes. So we
Okay.
got to get that going as well. So good point, Peter. So questionnaire, and I'll get with Helen on that. Questionnaire. Helen. I'll get with her tomorrow. And I was kind of pumped she was going to take it over. Quite frankly, seemed like she had a really good grasp on the touch points there, which would be wonderful. And as well as June, so that's great. Okay, and let's see, 70 date, reschedule. Oh, so Lauren, Board of Selectmen as well. What do you suggest there? As
So
far
the-
as getting with them?
So I made myself a note. I'm gonna go back to them and just ask if on the May 11th meeting, which is the next meeting after today, if they'll look at the charge for your committee and the other current ad hoc committee and, update the timeline. So I'm
Okay.
thinking if I get the charges updated on the 11th, and then you guys have your public hearing on the 18th, the next meeting of the Board of Selectmen is the 26th, which is a Tuesday. And maybe we can get you guys on that agenda for an update just after your first public hearing that the questionnaire has gone out, and just kind of give it an update as to how you're fulfilling the charge so far. Does that sound good with everybody?
Sounds really good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that sounds great. So, oops. Hang on. Okay, so their next meeting, as you said, is the 26th.
Yeah.
Okay, so the day after Memorial Day.
Yep.
Okay. I'm not even excited for Memorial Day, like first time ever. I'm not, everything going on. It's just too much work to be happening.
There's no holidays in lockdown.
Holiday's gonna be locked down, right?
There's no holidays in lockdown. It just kind of rolls through each day.
Yeah,
It becomes
Remember that
Tuesday,
movie Groundhog
Thursday.
Day with Bill Murray?
yes.
Yeah, I know. I
It's a
thought
great
about it
movie.
the other day.
Great movie. I love
Yeah,
that.
I thought about it.
I'm just psyched I haven't had a birthday during lockdown. That would really stink. 'Cause
Yeah,
I like to go
Saturday was
out.
my birthday.
Yeah, it's really, well, there's going to be a lot of celebrating of holidays and events that are going to be done as soon as we can get out of this. I heard about a vaccine that's going on in the UK, that's being tried in the UK right now, could potentially be ready for September. So I don't know what that means.
Takes a year.
September of which year?
Yeah, it takes
I think-
takes 12 months.
Yeah, I read the article too. It was actually in the BBC, and they had done a lot of work ahead of time. Their
Wow.
biggest concern is they may not have a big enough sample of test cases now because
Well-
the curve is coming down.
Well,
But they actually said it could theoretically be ready this September because they've been doing a lot of work long before it with monkeys. Whatever. I mean, I'm not a lab guy, so.
no. I have I can say that I didn't take one college level science class in college. I got out of that. I don't know how I did it, but then again, I went to a state school, so there's a lot of stuff going on there. Okay, so if we go back to my email, what did I miss? So we got public hearings, we got questionnaires, we've got Board of Selectmen, we've got the other towns we want to see. And maybe the agenda item, one really good agenda item we could take care of, which we haven't done yet, is the presentation of the different forms of government that a few of us went on those calls with. And maybe we can present them to each other to see, just start debating which is
Yeah.
best, or what we both like, what we don't like, pros and cons. I wanted to set up a whiteboard. I don't have one here. Maybe my wife has one from school. She's trying to teach 21st graders downstairs every day, which is almost impossible. But I wanted to, do a whiteboard, do pros and cons, and take pictures of them, and then put it together. But I guess we could still do that, just writing it down. So why don't we do that for our next meeting, which would be the 27th. So that would be May 4th. Am I reading that right?
So pros and cons.
Yeah, pros and cons for the different forms of government that we've all been looking at. Gene and I went out, and Leo, and I think Leo and Helen went out. Fairfield, I think you guys did Fairfield or something like that. Greenwich.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, so let's debate that. Have a nice little discussion, and we'll also prep for the 11th. I'll have the PowerPoint to you by the end of the weekend, this weekend. So PowerPoint, and then we also, as I mentioned, I'll talk to Helen about the questionnaire, because that's got to move along too. So PowerPoint and debate. So make some notes here. Forms, gov, Net. Okay. Good. Good. Okay. All right. Maybe it is more efficient doing this on Zoom because it's only 6:30. This is great. All right. Okay, I think I hit all the points from my email of whatever date that was. And Lauren, anything on your end from the town update perspective? And we got Peggy's update today, but anything going on operationally, town-wise that would interest us?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we're all still working. We're all, I mean, I think there might be an idea that like government isn't running as much as it was before this, but it's running even more. We're all still working, except that a lot of us now are working from home, and that means that line between the workday and night kind of really blurs. So, I mean, myself personally, I'm working a lot more hours. I know a lot of other people in town hall are. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think everything is still running. We're all still available. We're all still tuned in.
Yep. Okay.
Good.
It's amazing that the internet has stood up the way it has.
Yes.
I mean,
completely agree.
we've got 265,000 people at Wells Fargo, and I understand 240,000 are working at home,
Imagine the
including
demand.
everybody, all 12,000 in the risk side of the bank where I work. All 12,000. No one is allowed to go into work. And we don't have to technically. So
You've got 12,000 people just in risk.
yeah.
Wow.
But that's compliance and
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah.
yeah,
but
it's a lot of
still,
stuff.
a lot.
Of course, we made some mistakes too, so we need a lot of compliance.
Wow. We all have. That's for sure. We all have. Absolutely.
We made more than our share.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Question,
Okay.
question on the questionnaire. Is there still going to be a separate questionnaire for town staff and also for past boards and commission members, or what's the status? I know the staff one was, I think, going to be substantively different.
Yeah. I don't know. I think we land on that we were going to do two, and one was going to be for the town, the public, and then for, I think we were going to skip the boards and commissions. I don't remember. Somebody refresh my memory on that one. Were we thinking that 3 was going to be too much?
Yeah, I recall it, the public, and then just going to the
thought so too.
town leaders.
Yeah,
But
that's what I thought.
But as I think about it too, and I don't want to add a lot of extra work for us, we've got a lot of stuff in front of us. Those boards and commissions are so valuable from an opinion perspective. They've been doing this for a lot of years, and the boards and commissions, gosh, they're pretty darn important. Understand what works and what doesn't. So maybe we should rethink that if we had time.
I think,
I mean,
Bob,
couldn't we use the same survey for boards and commissions that we do for the town leaders, really?
Yeah,
that could be. Yeah.
I think that was Helen's last thought in her email chain, Bob, that I think it's just you, her, and I on. I think that was the last plan that I knew of, was like one questionnaire for the public in general, and then one questionnaire that was going to get sent out to everybody who has been a past board or commission member, past elected official, current boards and commissions members and elected officials, and town staff. There was going to be like an inside team and then the general public.
Well, thank you for that. Perfect. Okay, I just made more notes. Excellent. Okay, that works. Good question, Lauren. Thank you. Let's see. I think that's it. Does anybody have anything else? And this was great to reset what we were doing here. I'm glad we did it, and I'm glad I made all these notes. When I was writing this email, I said, you know what? This is going to be like a month or two out. I'm not going to remember, and I didn't take good enough notes here. I'm glad I wrote this out because it really was a good roadmap for me, getting back into the groove here. Let's see. Okay. Anything else from anybody else?
So
Lauren
if
yeah, Leo.
Yeah, so if we're with the questionnaires, what is the timing? What is the schedule? I mean, if I know like you and Helen will talk, but if we've got to create the other one, I mean, at least in my experience, to create questions that are actually insightful and people might answer and not mislead or not inadvertently direct to an answer, at least for me, it takes some time. You know, and so when do we want to get the second set, the in-town sort of questions? When do we want to have those developed by?
Yeah, you know, we want to have those between the 18th and June 1st. So maybe, so we're not gonna, so we're gonna miss the Memorial Day meeting. Does anybody have any problem going? No, because that's Tuesday, the 26th. That's when the Board of Selectmen meet. Maybe we could meet before the Board of Selectmen meet on Zoom. And then when the board is ready for us, we could, so what I'd like to do is have a draft questionnaires out by the 18th. I'm looking at my calendar here.
Both sets or the public or?
Why both sets couldn't get out. You know, they're not going to be wild. I don't think they're going to be wildly different from each other. Maybe some of the questions will be, but they should take on almost the same type of the same questions we're looking for. And then if we're gonna have public hearing on the 18th, we could send it out right after, or the week of Memorial Day, and then be ready for more questions resulting from that on June 1st with that public hearing, and then review them on June 8th. We got a lot of work here. Yeah, okay. Stupid virus. Let's screw this all up.
Do we think we could get, I mean, if things start to reopen though at the end of May, wouldn't we want to actually, I mean, people might actually, I don't know, I could be wrong, but some people might have more time right now to fill something out. So
That's a good point.
mostly there. I mean, do you think we could have it out sooner than that?
Let me talk to Helen and I'll update you guys.
You know, we, depending on what Helen says, we do have May 11th that's open on our calendar still.
Yep.
So we could do
That's
some
true.
of that work.
Yep. So why don't, let's set aside May 11 for questionnaire. Okay. And next week the 4th, we'll discuss the different forms of government and the different field trips that each of us went on. And give you an update on the questionnaire, give you an update on the PowerPoint. And I think that's good. All right, good team. Good teamwork here. Excellent. Okay. And as soon as Helen gets back to me, I'll email you all, so you know where we stand. When Helen emailed me tonight, it sounds like she's just, not to tell tales out of school or anything, but it sounded like she had a house full. And I don't know what's going on in the background, but and plus, you know, we're all working at the same time, and but it sounded like a stressful environment, and I just didn't want to. I just obviously just said, well, best of luck, and you know, stay safe and all that good stuff. So, so that's it. And if Helen has, for any reason, Helen can't do it, I'll get back to you guys as well, and we'll have to regroup on that because she had when I was looking at her notes, she had really good notes, and she had put some work into it already. So that's why I thought it was a good task for her. Okay. Anything?
And if things are still difficult for her, at least if she could share her notes, maybe we could work from that.
Exactly.
Instead of reinventing the wheel.
Right. Yeah. And I just do hope that she'll continue to participate. Okay. Anything else to come before us this evening on Zoom? I love this. No? All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second,
Excellent. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I,
I got
Aye.
40. And we'll have to tell Helen because she'll think it's a record. It's,
It is a record.
it is a record. We should do Zoom even when we can be
yeah.
unquarantined. Yeah, good. No, I think this will work out fine. So
Excellent.
great. Okay, well, folks,
And,
thanks, buddy.
Lauren,
Time.
just a question. On Zoom, I know that there's like a transcription tool. Do we have access to that too? As part of the town's setup?
No. The
No.
only thing that gets transcribed right now are the Q&A or chat sessions. So anything written, there's a record of that in the host. So I'm the host for this meeting. So in my
Yeah.
host account, if there were attendees chatting, I would have a record of that, but
Mhm.
not of the actual video. However,
Okay.
the video itself is also live streamed to YouTube. So as soon as I hit end meeting, it's replayable on YouTube.
Okay.
But it's not
Okay.
live at the same time though, right?
It is. It's live right now.
Oh, it is.
Nope.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, so the public can actually join the webinar and watch in Zoom, or if they don't have it or don't want to
That's what I
join, they
thought
just
I
want to
heard
watch
last
it.
week.
Yep, they can go to YouTube.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Cool.
great. Great.
I'll
All
wear a
right.
message shirt next time.
This is better than FOIA, you know? You don't even have to ask anything. All you gotta do is watch or go to YouTube. Fantastic. Great. Okay, folks, well,
Great.
stay safe and have a great rest of your week.
You too.
Okay.
All right.
take
See you,
care. Good to
everybody.
See
Thank you.
everybody.
Guys.
I really
Bye,
appreciate
everybody.
it.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Lauren.
Bye.
Bye-bye.